Hello everybody and welcome back to what I can only describe as Capitalism Simulator, where we are simulating capitalism, and we are absolutely making very good progress at this, especially over here in Africa and Asia. We're doing very, very well on those fronts, but there's only so many locations that we can continue to purchase at this time. In fact, there are none available right now, so we just have to wait out the cooldown, and what that means is we can start putting our political power to use with other things, and that's very good. We can start working on some of these resource prospects, but what I want to do first is I want to get some of these cores going. So let's check in on those 30 political power cores. Can we do those yet? The answer is no. Compliance isn't where it needs to be yet. Okay, so we'll just wait on that. That sounds good. But what we can do is all of these. We absolutely want to do that, but we do need a good amount of additional political power to make that happen. So I'm noticing that the frame rate is back to being low. I've restarted the game. I always do in between episodes, and hopefully it comes back up. It did last time, so fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Luckily, as I said in the last episode, we don't need frame rate for what we're doing. We're doing capitalism. And capitalism in the real world operates at like 1 frame per day. It's kind of slow. So at this point, we need a good amount more political power, but let's check in to see if any of these have come available. Actually, we can try to get Lancashire or Yorkshire. And wow, that was slow to zoom in. Okay, let's see what we've got. An autosave. Okay. UK denies us that. Let's try Yorkshire. The UK gave us Yorkshire. It's only a matter of time until they give us everything. So that seems good. And yeah, we can see that these are definitely starting to appear. So let's try to buy some Anatolia. We got it. Next up would be Northumberland. Yeah, UK doesn't want to give us that. Fair enough. More Anatolia. We got it. Beautiful. Next up would be Cumbria. And they actually gave us that. Remarkable. And then next up would be Guerrero, which is, of course, down over here. This keeps updating on me and moving. Okay, there we go. So we got that. Next would be Lothian. Let's see if they're willing to give us that. They were, remarkably. Next would be Lanark. Okay, they accepted that as well. And then we can try again for Texas. Let's see what we've got here. Unwilling to sell us Texas. Okay, they'll change their mind on that one eventually. Unwilling to part with their land here. Okay, next would be Aberdeenshire. And the UK accepted that. And then the Scottish Highlands. And at this point, we have almost the entirety of Britain. That's kind of insane. So next is Mexico again. Let's see what we get there. Unwilling to part with their land. Okay, fine. We just spent most of the political power that we saved up, but we don't have anything else to work on there. So let's queue up some infrastructure while we wait for more of the political power to flow in. So where needs infrastructure? We definitely have some need of infrastructure in some of these newer areas. I'm noting that we're not really having much for opportunity to expand in Africa at this moment. These might be mostly single state at this point, and that's fine. So let's get some civilian factories queued up. We, of course, just spent a bunch of them, and we need to absolutely get this built back up. After the autosave, anyway. There we go. So that looks good, and we hold this, right? Yes, we do. Fantastic. So we can continue to expand over into Europe. We'll get there soon enough. We're nowhere near the actual end of our acquisition spree at this point. We have a long ways to go on that, but we're bottlenecked a little bit on it, and that's absolutely fine because we can work on coring. It's not a problem. We've got plenty of things to spend our political power on. I'm deeply unconcerned about that. But we also need to get all of this construction done. And let's see what we can do on getting that completed. So this is quite a lot of... I just realized I'm building military factories. Well, that's embarrassing. We want civilian factories. Luckily, we didn't finish any of them. So there we go, that seems good. And now we're gonna queue up civilian factories. Okay, let's go ahead and do this with the game paused, because I want to get this done a little quicker. The game runs at a significantly higher frame rate, allowing us to make progress on this faster when the game is paused. So that seems absolutely wonderful, and we can just get this completed nice and quickly, theoretically. Did I miss the one down over here? No, I did not. Okay, beautiful. So that all looks good now that we're getting this re-queued back up. There's this guy here, and then there's this down here. Right. And then we've got these guys up over here. Excellent. Just checking in out over this way. Let's zoom in on the Aegean Islands and up over here, see if any of that got spent down. It did not. So that's absolutely noted. Okay, now we've got civilian factories queued instead of military factories, and that is significantly better. So let's tick on forward, bye-bye frame rate, and let's check to see if there's anything else available to be purchased. Not at this time. Okay, I really do want to get one of these cores going. In fact, I'd like to get multiple of them going, but we'll see. Our political power is still primarily going to be slated towards purchases. Ah. France dropped the first A-bomb. Okay. The atomic era has truly begun. We don't care. We can just buy their atomic bombs. So that's absolutely A-okay. I wish them luck with that endeavor. That, of course... Is that... Oh, that's the Socialist Republic of Finland. Okay. I was like, is that Japan up there? No. No, it is not. Well, that's probably for the best. We're, of course, not in war, so we don't actually care if they drop A-bombs. That just means that we get some discount land, probably. I like it. Sounds good to me, and then we'll just rebuild it. No problem. So I would like to do these prospects for resources. As of right now, though, I think we have a higher priority, and that's getting a core going. I don't know if we want to do two. I think we should test doing multiple cores at once to find out where our limit is. Because I don't know where that's going to be without the taxes. I think we can do two at once without significant problems, although... Is this a % increase? It's a % increase, yeah, but we were at minus 39 from the taxes. And this is going to be minus 40. So that's fundamentally the same as paying the taxes. So that should mean that we're capable of doing two cores simultaneously. We're definitely going to get one going, but as we do this, I want to check in before we get this started. So we're going to hop into our construction here, and we're going to look at our consumer goods %. We expect 10% right now to be producing consumer goods. So now I'm going to core East Azerbaijan, and then we're going to come back in here, and we're going to check 12%. Okay, so that means that we should really only do one of these at a time. Unless we just have a ridiculous amount of idle factories, or we don't care about having a ridiculous number of idle factories. So if we're in a position where we don't need to rebuild a bunch of stuff, like our factories are idling, it might be a good idea to do that. Also, I just noticed, is this scroll bar that you can grab here, this little scroll circle, is this not just the chromium icon, but inverted? Hang on a moment. Okay, it's not quite the same, but it's pretty close. Okay. It's basically like a, I don't know, like a pinball, except it's concave instead of convex. I don't know. My mind notices weird things at times. So we're, of course, working on that coring, and that'll take a while. I want to check in here. Ah, we can try to buy Arizona. And the communists sold it to us. Excellent. We can try to buy Oklahoma next. They don't want to give us Oklahoma. Okay. How about Colorado? No? They don't want to give us that either. Well, we can continue to try to ask about some of these states over here. And we definitely want to do so. So next up would be Utah. They don't want to give us Utah. Sad. And of course, we're going to need political power for some of the rest of this. Now, if we know that we're only going to be coring one at a time, that's going to be very slow to get all of that cored, and getting all of this cored is not going to be a requirement for finishing this series, I think. That's going to take a ludicrous sum of time. Truly ludicrous. That said, what happens if we're over 100% consumer goods factories factor? Like, if hypothetically, I actually kind of want to find out. So, this would be something that we're just going to simulate. I'm going to make a save here, and we're going to return back to this save. So, let's make a save there. And then what I want to do is, I don't know offhand the command for this. Political_power? Maybe? And we need, like, a lot of it. Yeah, that is the command. Okay, I just guessed that. Fantastic. So we're 2k political power right now. And with that, we can then come through here and start these cores. Now, this is just experimental, right? Our trade was modified because we no longer have the factories to do that. But all of these cores are ongoing here. And if we look at this, we can see, yeah, we have no factories dedicated to construction right now. This would be expected. And this is actually kind of broken at this point. That's kind of wild. Hang on. I'm going to queue something up and see if we can get it to update. The scroll bar is missing here. Okay. That's exciting. I think we broke the game a little bit by doing that. So I don't know what our consumer goods factories factor is, but it's very, very, very low. For sure. You can see here, it's over 100%, but that actually seems to be fine. Okay, we're going to go back to the previous save that we made. I just wanted to see what would happen if we did that. And that's definitely very interesting. What is this up here? That's a little odd. I don't know what that's indicating. I've never noticed that before. Anyway, here we are back in our proper save game. And we are wanting to check down here. So we're at 21. Were we at that previously? We must have been. This is the save that we just made. So that should be absolutely fine. It's very interesting that it lets us exceed 100% consumer goods. I wonder if we're not reaching the expected consumer goods factories number and that causes us to have other problems. But for now, that's not a major issue right now. We can think about that later. For the moment, let's try to buy Nevada. They don't want to give us Nevada. What about Oregon? No. But I mean, we've already bought 3 states. They'll give us the rest. It's just a matter of time. So as we're waiting on more of this political power to come in and more abilities to purchase to appear, we're going to just build up political power. And with that political power, I want to do a couple of things. The first thing that I want to do is I want to be prospecting for resources. This is going to be a grand total of 125 political power. I definitely want to do that. Repairing the Panama Canal is probably a good thing to do as well. That's a lot of political power. And I want to have at least 1 core ongoing at all times. So that's kind of the goal at this point for political power. Now, let's see if we needed any additional civilian factories. Yes, right here. And right up over here as well. As you can see, we are kind of idling a lot of our factories, and that's absolutely noted. We could go through and build coastal forts again in some of these new territories. I mean, why not? We aren't doing anything else with the factories, right? We might as well. The Colombian Socialist Republic capitulated. Good for you, Colombian Socialist Republic. And the death of the Tsar of Bulgaria occurred. I don't care. They, too, will be purchased. But not yet. So let's just go through here. This is mostly just to give something for our factories to do. Okay. I want to actually select this tile. There we go. A little awkward with the airbase and the gun emplacement there. Okay, autosave is occurring. Cool. So we'll just proceed through here and get all of that built up. And then all of this as well. So this is getting all of Africa, having all of that built. That's fine. So we're at 79 political power. Let's see where we are here. We can try to buy Lancashire and Northumberland again. Okay, sounds good. Unwilling to part with their land, and unwilling to part with their land. Deeply unsurprised by that. They'll come around eventually, but it'll cost some. So I do want to get started on developing these resources. That's what we want to spend our political power on right now. So that looks good. We'll get another one of these going, and then it'll be 50 more political power before we're ready to get these done. But that's absolutely fine for now. And in the meantime, we can continue to build up some coastal forts. So apparently I missed this spot. Cool. And then we've got all of this down through here. Oh, I'm putting this at the top. I want to actually put this on the bottom. So we're just going to shift-click to put them on the bottom, but queue up maximum numbers. Okay, so something like that. And then, of course, there's this out over here. Perfect. And then we've got our Anatolian territory out over this direction that we can get queued up. And we can also build land forts in, like, every single tile if we choose to. I don't want this queue to get too long. I have definitely noticed that that causes significant lag if the construction queue gets too long in previous games. And we've already got enough lag, so I don't want to just, like, go through off camera and queue up every single thing, which I would normally do in this situation. I'd just get all of this queued up off camera, and we'd come back and it would all be queued up. But in this case, I just don't want to queue up too much of it. We're just killing some time here until our political power rolls in. So that looks fine for the moment, and we can't, of course, build up over here. So that's fine. Down here is not built. Interesting. Okay, let's get that going. And checking through the rest of Asia, that all looks fine. And then out over this way. So we know we hold Galapagos. We know we hold some islands out over this direction. I would definitely like to see those get queued up. Oh, I didn't know we held this. Interesting. And we, of course, hold quite a lot of Britain at this point. And the question is, how much of this can we build coastal forts on? And the answer, of course, is a lot. Britain has a lot of coastline, as it turns out. I know that's a wild idea, but it does. There's rather a lot of coastline here. So we're going to just head on through and get all of that queued up as well. I think that we have kind of over-queued this at this point. I just want to get through Britain here, and next pass, we'll do the US and the other American holdings. So that all sounds good. And once we have all of our coastal forts done, we can start building land forts literally everywhere. And that's going to be a significant undertaking. No doubt about that. I think I missed a spot right here. Yep. Okay, cool. And apparently over here. Pretty sure I already looked at that, but okay. I guess that seems fine. So that's okay for the moment. We've got 103 political power. Let's see if there's anybody willing to sell us anything, and if not, we'll do more prospecting for resources. Ah, we can try to buy Texas again. Nope. Okay. Well, we can buy more from Mexico, potentially. They accepted that. Perfect. And now we're auto-saved. Okay. And let's see what we've got here. Unwilling to part with their land. Fair enough. They'll get there. So now I want to spend that political power on prospecting for more resources. We can further develop these, which we are absolutely delighted in doing. Getting more resources is absolutely wonderful for us. So that seems great. We've got 4 days, 3 days, but what we're really interested in is the 25 political power to get this one going, which will happen very shortly. And that's now underway. Cool. Are we going to be able to develop this one again? Yes, we will. Just what we want to see. So more development there looks great. And then if we come down here and we see, yep, nothing available right now. No, the Great Iranian Empire is not ready. They will never be ready. We have no reason to have vassals at this point. Just to be clear, we can't funnel industry to them anymore. apparently, after ending the taxes, so we can't do that anymore. So there's no point whatsoever in having vassals at this point. We just don't have the political power to integrate them, and we'll get there. But as of right now, we don't have it. So I want to check in on our court timing here. 111 days on that. Okay, that seems good. So then we just need 25 political power up here. That is absolutely fine. And we did get a location, right? So we should probably queue up some civilian factories. Yes. Perfect. So that is now underway. And then I want to coastal fort our American holdings. If I can select this tile, that would be nice. Okay. So let's get all of this queued on up. I'm queuing this at the top. Why am I doing that? I should not be doing that. We're going to move these right on down. There we go. And we're going to queue these at the bottom. Perfect. They are low priority constructions that we just want to do. Oh, look at that. The Mexican Socialist Republic owns Cuba. We're going to have a hard time getting to islands, I think. We're going to have to come up with a strategy for how we're going to deal with islands. Or maybe we just don't deal with islands. We'll see. But for now, we're still continuing to purchase large amounts of territory, and everything is looking good on that front. Although we are in a couple of bottlenecks right now. One of the biggest bottlenecks that we're in right now is the European bottleneck. That's a significant one for us because we're not making progress in Europe right now. I think we have about as much as we're going to be able to get in Africa, but let's take a look at Europe here in a moment. So we only have one inroad into Europe right now, and that inroad is, I think, currently blocked. So if we come out over this direction, our only inroad is this way, into SFR Yugoslavia and into Kingdom of Poland. This territory is owned by SFR Yugoslavia, but this territory is owned by Romania and controlled by Poland. So we can't expand up this way. We can only go into SFR Yugoslavia. That is the only way that we can get into Europe at this moment. But the only people we appear to be able to purchase from at this moment is actually the Communist States of America. And I'm wondering why. This is not showing up as being purchasable. It might be on cooldown. That's a possibility. Okay, so let's see if they're willing to give us Oklahoma. No. Well, what about Colorado this time? Okay, they're willing to this time. They're now willing to give us Colorado. What about Utah? No. They don't want to give us Utah. Nevada? No. Oregon. They gave us Oregon. Cool. Next up, Wyoming. Yeah, I'm not surprised they gave us Wyoming. Wyoming has very low population and no resources, so that one's deeply unsurprising. What about Kansas? They gave us Kansas. Nebraska. They gave us Nebraska. How about Washington? No, they don't want to give us Washington. Idaho. Yeah, I'm not surprised about that one. Montana. Hilarious. Okay, now we need more political power, but we're making huge headway at this point into taking over the Communist States of America. And they don't even know it's happening. They have to know it's happening, right? But they keep going with it. I love it. So next up would be South Dakota. Perfect. And then we need a lot more political power here, but look at that. We can start buying up in Canada now, too. That's a very big deal. We can't expand down this direction, though, because this is the capital state of the United Mexican States. So there's that. That's blocking us from expanding into South America. So we're going to have to make some strategies on how we want to deal with those sorts of bottlenecks. That will probably require a war, and that's a complicated thing for us to do, for sure. Let's see if we can buy Iowa. No, they don't want to give us Iowa. Okay. But at least we now have a lot of things that we can look to buy. We've opened this up quite a lot, and that is phenomenal. So we do need to go through and build any infrastructure that might be lacking, and indeed there is infrastructure lacking over here. So we'll get all of that queued up, and we should also build civilian factories wherever it's possible to build civilian factories. So that'll be down here. But it is getting close to time to put a cut in here, which I'm going to go ahead and do. But first, I want to make sure that we get these civilian factories in. But you can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings. And a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Aurelio, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge SPL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video. And as always, I will see you all next time. I'm still queuing up the civilian factories. I think I just finished it. Okay. Oh, no, here's another one. There we go. No, here's another one. And another. Okay, I think I'm done now.